Make sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button right now to see much more content just like this.
By the time the riders found them, Isaiah Cole had no water left, no horse beneath him, and 6 rifles pointed at his chest. The young woman beside him could barely stand. Her lips were cracked. Dust covered the pale blue dress that had once been expensive enough to turn heads in any church in Red Hollow. One sleeve had torn near the shoulder, her blonde hair hung in dirty knots around her face, and a thin streak of dried blood ran from her temple to her jaw. Isaiah had one arm around her waist, holding her upright. In his other hand was an empty canteen. He had given her the last mouthful less than 10 minutes earlier. Then the sound of horses had rolled across the desert. At first, the woman had smiled. They found us. Isaiah had thought the same thing. He had expected relief, maybe gratitude. Instead, the first man off his horse raised a Winchester. "Get your hands off her." Isaiah froze. The woman looked up sharply. "No, wait." 3 more riders spread out across the dry wash, dust curling around their boots. Behind them came a black carriage, 2 wagons, and nearly a dozen armed ranch hands. Then an older man stepped down from the carriage. Tall, broad-shouldered, gray at the temples, silver belt buckle, black coat despite the heat. Everything about him announced money before anyone said his name. Silas Whitmore, owner of Whitmore Cattle Company, owner of nearly 60,000 acres stretching from Red Hollow to the Western Mesas, the most powerful rancher in 3 counties, and the father of the woman Isaiah had just saved. Silas stared at his daughter, then at Isaiah's arm around her. Something dark crossed his face. "Emily." She tried to speak. "Father." Silas moved closer. His eyes dropped to the dirt on her dress, the bruises on her wrists, the tear at her shoulder. Then they settled on Isaiah. "What did you do to my daughter?" Isaiah slowly removed his arm from Emily's waist. She nearly collapsed. He caught her again instinctively. 2 rifles clicked. "Don't touch her." Emily pushed away from Isaiah only so she could face her father. "He saved me." Silas did not even look at her. "Put him on his knees." Isaiah's jaw tightened. Emily stared at her father. "What?" "Father, stop. He found me. I was dying." Silas raised his voice. "On your knees." Isaiah looked around at the armed men. He knew some of them. Everybody around Red Hollow knew the Whitmore riders. He also knew what 12 rifles meant when a black cowboy stood alone 50 miles from town. His hands slowly lifted. "I don't want trouble." "You already found it," said one of the men. A ranch hand stepped forward and slammed the stock of his rifle behind Isaiah's knees. He dropped hard. Emily screamed, "Stop!" Isaiah caught himself with both hands. His palms hit burning sand. Silas walked until his boots stopped inches from Isaiah's fingers. "Where did you take her?" Isaiah looked up. "I didn't take her anywhere. You expect me to believe I find my daughter 50 miles from home, half dead, with a strange man holding her? I found her yesterday afternoon." "You found her?" "Yes." Silas looked at the empty canteen. "And I suppose you just happened to be wandering through the desert." "My horse broke his leg in a wash 3 days ago. I was walking toward Red Hollow." One of the ranch hands laughed. Silas didn't. Emily stepped forward. "He's telling the truth." Silas finally looked at her. For 1 second, his expression softened. Then he saw the bruising around her wrist again. "Who did that?" Emily's eyes changed. Fear returned so quickly that Isaiah noticed. She looked past her father, past the first line of riders, toward a man sitting on a chestnut horse near the wagon. Clean white shirt, dark vest, perfectly combed, brown hair, no dust on his boots. Grant Mercer, Silas Whitmore's foreman, and according to half the county, the man Silas expected Emily to marry. Grant watched her without blinking. Emily's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Silas mistook her silence for terror. His face hardened. He turned back to Isaiah. Bind his hands. No. Emily grabbed her father's sleeve. He didn't hurt me. Silas pulled free. Emily, you're not thinking clearly. I am thinking clearly. You've been missing for 2 days. And he saved my life. Silas pointed at Isaiah. That man kidnapped you. Isaiah stared at him. The words were worse than the rifles. Grant dismounted slowly. Mr. Whitmore, we should get Emily home. His voice was calm, almost gentle. Emily went pale. Isaiah saw it, the tremble in her hand, the way she took half a step backward when Grant approached. Silas did not. Grant, Silas said, take her to the carriage. Grant moved toward her. Emily recoiled. No. Silas frowned. Emily. I said no. Grant stopped. For the first time, his smile disappeared. Emily turned toward Isaiah. He stays with me. One of the riders laughed under his breath. Silas's face turned red. You don't know what you're saying. Yes, I do. She pointed at Isaiah. He gave me his last water. Silas said nothing. Emily's voice cracked. He had nothing left, and he gave it to me. For just a moment, the desert became quiet. Even the ranch hands looked at Isaiah differently. Then Grant spoke. People do strange things when they know they've been caught. Isaiah's eyes narrowed. Emily turned sharply. Grant held her gaze. The message in his expression was invisible to everyone else. But Emily understood it. Say too much, and something worse happens. Her courage vanished. Silas noticed only that she stopped talking. He made his decision. Take him. 2 men pulled Isaiah upright and tied his wrists behind him. Emily began crying. Not because she feared Isaiah, because she understood something he did not yet understand. The man who had nearly left her to die was riding home beside her father. And the man who had saved her was being dragged behind a horse. 3 days earlier, Isaiah Cole had expected nothing more dangerous than a broken fence. He worked seasonal cattle drives, repaired windmills, broke horses when ranchers were willing to hire him, and moved often enough that no place had ever truly become home. At 34, he had learned not to ask towns to welcome him. He only asked them to pay what they promised. Sometimes they did. Sometimes they didn't. Red Hollow had been better than most. Not kind. Just predictable. Isaiah had spent 6 weeks working for a small rancher named Walter Briggs east of town. When the job ended, Briggs paid him $40 short. Isaiah said nothing. He saddled his bay gelding, Moses, packed 2 shirts, dried meat, coffee, a blanket, and 3 canteens, then headed west toward another ranch rumored to be hiring. He never made it. The first afternoon, a storm far north sent a wall of water through a dry ravine. Isaiah heard it too late. Moses panicked. The horse slipped between 2 rocks, shattered a foreleg, and screamed until Isaiah put a bullet behind his ear. Isaiah sat beside the dead horse until sunset. Then he took what he could carry and started walking. By the second day, the country had turned against him. No shade, no creek, no ranch house. Nothing but thorn brush, pale stone, and a sky so wide it felt cruel. Late in the afternoon, he saw something blue beneath a mesquite tree. At first, he thought it was fabric caught on a branch. Then it moved. Isaiah changed direction. The woman lay on her side in the dust. Her face was red from the sun. Her lips were bleeding. One shoe was missing. Isaiah dropped his pack. "Ma'am?" No response. He knelt beside her. "Can you hear me?" Her eyes fluttered. She tried to crawl away. "No. It's all right." She raised one hand weakly. "Don't." Isaiah stopped. "I'm not going to hurt you." She stared at him. For several seconds, terror and exhaustion fought inside her eyes. Then she whispered one word. "Water." Isaiah looked at his canteen. His last full one was already less than half. His body needed every drop. He knew that. He also knew she would not survive the night without it. He held the canteen to her mouth. "Slow." She tried to grab it. He pulled it back. "Slow, or you'll make yourself sick." She obeyed. One swallow, then another. Her eyes closed as if the water hurt. Isaiah let her drink a little more. "That's enough for now. Please. In 5 minutes." She looked at the canteen, then at him. "You don't have much." "No." "You're lost too?" "Not lost." He glanced around. "Just inconveniently far from where I'd rather be." For the first time, something almost like a smile touched her face. Then it vanished. She looked over his shoulder. Isaiah noticed. "Someone following you?" "No." The answer came too quickly. Isaiah said nothing. He examined the cut at her temple. It was shallow. The bruises on her wrists were not. He noticed those too. He noticed the torn sleeve, the missing shoe, the expensive fabric. She was not some drifter. "Can you walk?" "I think so." She tried. Her knees folded. Isaiah caught her. She flinched violently. "Easy. I'm sorry." "No need." He helped her sit. "What's your name?" She hesitated. "Emily?" "Isaiah." She studied his face. "Isaiah, what?" "Cole." Her eyes sharpened. "Do you know Red Hollow?" "Enough to know the coffee at Ellis's costs too much." She gave a weak laugh. Then she looked suddenly relieved. "You're from there?" "Passing through." "I need to get back." "How far?" She lowered her eyes. "Maybe 40 miles." Isaiah stared at her. "How did you get 40 miles out? Here?" Emily's expression closed. "My horse threw me." Isaiah looked at the bruises around her wrists again. "Your horse tie your hands too?" Emily went still. "I never said my hands were tied." "No." Isaiah stood. "But those marks did." She looked away. He did not press. "You don't have to tell me." He offered his hand. "But if someone's looking for you, I need to know whether they're coming to help or finish something." Emily looked at him for a long time. Finally, she said, "I don't know." That answer disturbed him more than anything else. They traveled until dark. Isaiah gave her his spare shirt to wrap around her shoulders when the desert cooled. He built no fire. Emily asked why. Fire travels farther than voices. "You think someone is looking for me. I think you think someone is." She stared into the darkness. Somewhere far away, a coyote called. Isaiah divided the remaining water. He drank less. Emily noticed. "You're giving me more. You need more. You'll need it tomorrow. So will you." She shook her head. "You don't even know me." "No." "Then why?" Isaiah looked at her. "Do I need to?" She had no answer. Much later, when Isaiah thought she was asleep, he heard her whisper, "He was supposed to take me home." Isaiah kept his eyes on the stars. "Who?" Emily did not answer. The next morning, they found wagon tracks crossing the flats. Recent. Isaiah crouched. 1 wagon, 2 horses, maybe 3 riders. Emily saw them and stopped walking. What? Nothing. Isaiah looked at her. Emily. Her breathing changed. They're going west. Who? I don't know. She was lying. Isaiah knew it. But he also knew fear when he saw it. He stepped between her and the tracks. We're going north. She looked at him. That's not the fastest way to Red Hollow. No. Why north? Because whoever made those tracks went west. Emily's eyes filled with tears. She nodded. They walked. Near noon, she nearly collapsed again. Isaiah gave her more water. By afternoon, the canteen was nearly empty. He rationed what remained until sunset. Emily noticed every time he pretended to drink. You're not swallowing. I'm wetting my mouth. That's not drinking. It helps. She looked at the canteen. How much is left? Enough. That isn't an answer. Isaiah handed it to her. She shook it. Almost nothing. Her face changed. You need this. So do you. You've been walking longer. You've been half dead longer. She pushed it back. No. Isaiah did not take it. Drink. I said no. And I said drink. I'm not going to watch you die because of me. Isaiah smiled faintly. You're not that important. She stared at him, then laughed despite herself. The sound became a sob. She drank half, then tried to return it. Isaiah tilted it toward her again. All of it. Her eyes widened. Isaiah, all of it. You'll have nothing. I know. No. He lowered his voice. If one of us reaches tomorrow stronger, it should be the one whose people are looking for her. Emily stared at him, then drank. Every drop. When the ranch riders appeared the next morning, Isaiah thought his gamble had worked. Until they put him on his knees. The ride back to Red Hollow took 5 hours. Isaiah walked for the first 2. His wrists were tied. A rope looped from his bonds to the saddle horn of a ranch hand named Boyd Keller. Nobody offered him water. Emily noticed. She leaned from the carriage. Give him something to drink. Boyd ignored her. Emily looked at her father. Father. Silas sat rigidly beside her. He can drink in town. He hasn't had water since yesterday. Silas turned. How do you know? Because he gave me the last of it. Silas looked forward again. Grant. Grant rode alongside the carriage. Yes, sir? Give Cole water. Grant's expression barely changed. He removed a canteen from his saddle and rode toward Isaiah. For a moment, Isaiah thought he would hand it over. Instead, Grant drank from it, slowly, then replaced the cap. Wouldn't want a kidnapper getting too comfortable? Emily heard him. So, help me God. Grant smiled toward the carriage. You're upset. You left me out there. Silas turned sharply. What did you say? Emily froze. Grant's horse moved closer. Emily looked at him. His face remained calm, but his eyes had changed. She swallowed. I said, you all left me out there too long. Silas studied her, then nodded. I know. Grant relaxed. Isaiah saw all of it. He did not yet know what Grant had done, but he knew this much. Emily Whitmore was terrified of him. Red Hollow had already heard the news before they arrived. By the time the riders reached Main Street, people lined the wooden sidewalks. A missing rich girl had been found. A black cowboy had been arrested with her. In a town that preferred conclusions to questions, the story needed no more details. Women stood outside the mercantile. Men left the saloon. Children ran beside the procession. Isaiah walked through the center of them with his hands tied. Someone shouted, "Hang him!" Another voice said, "What did he do to her?" Emily heard it from the carriage. Her face burned. "Stop this." Silas remained silent. "Father, make them stop. I didn't gather them, but you can stop them." Silas looked at the crowd. He had spent 30 years becoming the kind of man whose silence could be mistaken for law. Today, it was. He said nothing. The sheriff waited outside the jail. Sheriff Thomas Reed was 58 and shaped like a barrel. His eyes moved from Isaiah to Emily to Silas. "What happened?" Silas stepped down. "This man abducted my daughter." Emily shouted from the carriage. "No, he didn't," the crowd murmured. Sheriff Reed looked at her. "You saying he didn't?" "He saved me." Silas stepped between them. "She needs a doctor. I need people to listen to me." Grant dismounted. "She's been through something terrible, Sheriff." Emily pointed at him. "Yes." Grant's face changed. Only for a second. She saw it. So did Isaiah. Silas put his arm around her. "You're safe now." Emily jerked away. "Not with him here." Silas frowned. "With Isaiah?" She stared at him. "No." Grant cleared his throat. "Mr. Whitmore, perhaps we should get her home." Emily's eyes filled with panic. Isaiah spoke for the first time since they entered town. "She's afraid of your foreman." Everything stopped. Grant turned. Silas looked at Isaiah as though he had spit on the church floor. "What did you say?" Isaiah nodded toward Emily. "She's afraid of him." "You don't know my daughter?" "I know what fear looks like." Grant stepped forward. "You know what guilt looks like?" Isaiah smiled without humor. "Maybe you can show me." Grant lunged. The sheriff stopped him. "That's enough." Silas pointed at Isaiah. "Lock him up." Sheriff Reed hesitated. "Silas." "Lock him up. Your daughter is saying he saved her." "My daughter was missing 48 hours. She's injured and confused." Emily shouted, "I am not confused." Silas turned on her. "Then tell me what happened." The question struck her like a slap. Her eyes moved to Grant. Again. Silas finally followed her gaze. For one dangerous second, suspicion flickered. Grant saw it, so he spoke first. "Emily, you don't have to say anything here." His voice was gentle. Too gentle. "You're safe." Emily looked sick. Isaiah stepped closer despite the rope. "Ask her why she doesn't want to go home with him." Silas shoved Isaiah back. "Enough." Sheriff Reed's deputies took Isaiah into the jail. The door closed. Emily watched through the carriage window until the building disappeared. Then she whispered to herself, "I'm sorry." At Whitmore Ranch, a doctor examined her. Dr. Nathan Hale had delivered Emily 23 years earlier. He stitched the cut on her temple, cleaned the scrapes, examined the bruises on both wrists. "These are restraint marks." Silas stood beside the bed. Emily stared at the ceiling. "Emily." No answer. "Dr. Hale looked at Silas. "You need to let her speak." Silas dismissed everyone except the doctor. Grant waited outside the door. Silas sat beside his daughter. "What happened?" Emily's lower lip trembled. "You won't believe me." "Try me." She looked at him. "You already decided what happened." Silas said nothing. "You decided before I could speak. I found you half-dressed, injured, in the arms of a stranger. He gave me his shirt because I was cold. Silas looked away. He slept 10 feet away from me. Silas's jaw tightened. He never touched me except to help me stand. Then who did? Emily's eyes moved toward the door. Silas saw. Grant? Her face crumpled. Silas stared at her. For the first time since the desert, certainty left him. What did Grant do? Emily whispered. He took me out there. Silas stood. No. Emily closed her eyes. I knew you wouldn't believe me. Silas paced once. Grant has worked for me 11 years. I know. I trusted that man with every acre I own. I know. He was leading the search for you. Emily laughed bitterly. Of course he was. Silas stopped. Tell me everything. Emily's hand shook. 2 nights earlier, Grant had told her that one of the ranch horses had been injured near the southern boundary. Emily loved horses more than social dinners, more than dresses, and more than the endless parade of men her father considered suitable. Grant knew that. He said the mare was bleeding badly. He said the ranch veterinarian was already on his way. He needed Emily because the horse trusted her. She rode with him. At first, nothing seemed wrong. Then they passed the southern boundary, then the old mining road. Emily questioned him. Grant said there was a shortcut. There wasn't. They reached an abandoned line shack near Dry Knife Wash. No injured horse, no veterinarian. Grant tied the horses. Emily demanded an explanation. Grant told her Silas was planning to sell a large western parcel. He had learned about it from the ranch books. The land held a spring that never dried and sat directly across a proposed railway spur. Grant had secretly purchased surrounding parcels under another name. If Silas sold cheaply, Grant could buy Whitmore's western tract through a shell company, then resell the entire corridor for 10 times the price. But Emily had discovered strange entries in the ranch ledger. Payments to a surveyor, transfers to a bank in Santa Fe. She had begun asking questions. Grant knew it. At the line shack, he demanded to know what she had seen. Emily refused. He grabbed her wrists. She fought. He tied her to a chair. Then he searched her satchel. He found nothing, because the document he wanted was hidden somewhere else. Where? Silas asked. Emily hesitated. In Mother's old sewing box. Silas stared at her. She continued. Grant told her she had 2 choices. Tell him where the copied bank records were, or disappear long enough that nobody would ask questions until he could move the money and destroy the evidence. Emily spat in his face. Grant slapped her. Then he left. Hours passed. A young ranch hand returned. Calvin Price, 19 years old. Recently hired, he had been ordered to watch her. Calvin was terrified. Emily begged him to release her. He refused. She told him Grant would eventually kill them both because witnesses were liabilities. Calvin began to believe her. Near dawn, he untied one wrist. Emily escaped. Calvin did not stop her. She took a horse. Grant pursued. Her horse stumbled crossing a rocky slope. She was thrown. When she woke, the horse was gone. She walked. Grant found her late that afternoon. Emily hid between rocks and watched him ride within 20 yards. He called her name, promised he only wanted to help. She stayed silent. He rode away. That night, she kept walking. The next afternoon, Isaiah found her. Silas listened without moving. When she finished, his face was gray. Dr. Hale said quietly, Silas, those injuries are consistent with what she described. Silas walked to the door. Emily grabbed his hand. Don't confront him alone. Silas looked back. For the first time in her life, Emily saw fear in her father. Not fear for his land, not his reputation. Her. What else aren't you telling me? he asked. Emily's fingers tightened around his. Grant knows Isaiah found me. Yes. If Grant thinks Isaiah heard anything? Silas understood. He opened the door. Grant was gone. At the jail, Isaiah sat on a narrow cot. Sheriff Reed brought him water. Isaiah drank slowly. The sheriff leaned against the bars. You want to tell me why Silas Whitmore's daughter keeps insisting you're innocent? Because I am. That's inconvenient. Isaiah looked at him. For who? Reed almost smiled. Half the town already convicted you. Town move fast. Faster when they're bored. Isaiah handed the cup back. Emily afraid of Grant Mercer? The sheriff's expression changed. You noticed, too. You did? I've been sheriff 21 years. I notice when people look at a man like they expect him to hurt them. Isaiah stood. Then why am I in here? Because Silas Whitmore accused you of kidnapping his daughter. And until I know what happened, this is the safest room in Red Hollow. Isaiah laughed once. For me? Reed looked toward the window. For everybody. Before Isaiah could answer, a gunshot exploded outside, then another. Sheriff Reed moved. Stay down. Isaiah hit the floor. A bullet punched through the jail window. Glass shattered. Reed drew his revolver. Another shot, then hoofbeats, fast, leaving town. Reed ran outside. Isaiah stayed low. He looked at the bullet hole. Someone had just tried to kill him, not threaten him, kill him. Minutes later, Reed returned. His expression had changed. Shooter got away. Isaiah stood. Still think I'm safest in here? No. Reed opened the cell. You're moving. Where? Somewhere people don't know. Isaiah stepped out. Who fired? Reed shook his head. Too far to see. Isaiah glanced at the shattered window. Grant knows I saw Emily afraid of him. Reed looked at him. You think he did it? I think somebody wants the kidnapper dead before he gets a chance to prove there wasn't a kidnapping. That evening, Silas rode into town alone. Sheriff Reed met him behind the livery. You owe Cole an apology. Silas's face hardened. My daughter told me what happened. Reed waited. Grant took her. Where is he? Gone. His horse? Gone. Money. Silas nodded. $22,000 missing from the ranch safe. Reed swore. He knows. Silas stared toward the jail. Where's Cole? Not there. Silas looked sharply at him. Why? Somebody shot through the window. Silas's face strained. Was he hit? No. For the first time, Reed saw guilt crack through Silas Whitmore's pride. I put him there. Yes. Silas looked down. I accused him in front of the whole town. Yes. He saved my daughter. Yes. Silas clenched his jaw. Do you enjoy this? Not particularly. Reed stepped closer. But I do enjoy watching powerful men discover that power doesn't make them right. Silas said nothing. Reed continued. Your daughter says Grant had a young rider helping him. Calvin Price. We need to find him. Silas looked toward the road. He disappeared yesterday. Then he's either running with Grant, Reed paused, or running from him. Calvin Price was running from him. He had spent nearly 2 days hiding inside a limestone cave above Miller Creek. He had no horse, no food, only a revolver with 2 bullets. Grant had found him once already. Calvin escaped by jumping into the creek and letting the current drag him under a fallen tree. He knew Grant would not stop, because Calvin had seen too much. He had seen Emily tied to the chair. He had seen Grant strike her. He had heard Grant say that once the land sale happened, Silas Whitmore would never know the difference. And he had watched Grant place a leather pouch beneath the seat of his wagon. When Emily escaped, Calvin made a choice, a cowardly one at first. He ran. But before he ran, he took the pouch. He thought it contained money. It didn't. Inside were receipts, bank transfers, a survey map, and a letter bearing the name of a railroad representative in Denver. Proof. Enough to bury Grant Mercer. Calvin had the pouch hidden under a rock inside the cave, and Grant knew he had taken it. The next morning, Isaiah stood inside an abandoned feed shed behind the sheriff's house. Reed had moved him there after the shooting. Emily arrived with Silas. When she entered, Isaiah stood. For several seconds, neither spoke. Emily crossed the room. "I'm sorry." Isaiah shook his head. "You didn't arrest me." "My father did." Silas stood behind her. Isaiah looked at him. Silas Whitmore had faced cattle stampedes, droughts, bank failures, and armed rustlers. But he suddenly looked like a man who would rather confront all of them than speak the next sentence. "I was wrong." Isaiah waited. Silas swallowed. "I accused you without listening." "Yes." Silas looked at the floor. "You saved Emily." "Yes." "And I had you dragged through town." Isaiah's eyes hardened. "You did." Silas looked up. "I can't undo it." "No, I can make it right." Isaiah shook his head. "That depends what you mean." "Money." Emily closed her eyes. "Father?" Silas frowned. "What?" Isaiah stared at him. "You think you can pay me for getting called a kidnapper?" "I'm trying to compensate you." "You can compensate a broken fence." Silas's jaw tightened. "I'm offering what I know how to offer." "That might be the problem." The room went quiet. Emily looked between them. Isaiah continued. "You want to make it right?" "Yes." "Tell the same town you told I was guilty that you were wrong." Silas hesitated, only for a second. Isaiah saw it. There it is. Silas's face darkened. "What?" "You can apologize in a feed shed." "That is not what I... But in front of your friends?" Isaiah stepped closer. "The bankers, ranchers, men who follow you because they think your word means something?" Silas said nothing. "That costs more than money." Emily looked at her father. Silas breathed slowly. "You're right." Isaiah had not expected the answer. Silas turned toward Reed. "Call a meeting in town." Reed raised an eyebrow. "You sure?" "No." Silas looked back at Isaiah. "Do it anyway." Before the meeting could happen, a rider arrived. A ranch boy. He had found Calvin's horse near Miller Creek. Saddle empty, blood on the stirrup. Sheriff Reed organized 6 men. Silas insisted on joining. Isaiah did too. Reed shook his head. "You're still technically under investigation." Isaiah stared at him. "You just told me the man who framed me is hunting a witness. That doesn't make you a deputy." "No." Isaiah picked up a rifle. "But it makes me interested." Emily stepped forward. "I'm coming." Silas immediately said no. Emily looked at him. "Grant is out there because of me." "Exactly. He knows where I hid the copied bank records." Silas froze. "What?" "The documents at home are copies." "You said." "I said I hid copied records in Mother's sewing box." "Where are the originals?" Emily looked toward Miller Creek. "With Calvin." Everyone turned. She explained. At the line shack, before Grant left her with Calvin, Emily had noticed Calvin's fear. When Grant stepped outside, She whispered to him that the papers he wanted were not at the ranch. That was a lie. She was trying to convince Calvin that Grant needed her alive. Later, when Calvin loosened her rope, she told him about the leather pouch beneath Grant's wagon seat. She had seen Grant use it before. "If he ever runs," Emily had whispered, "that pouch is what he'll protect." Calvin escaped separately. Emily did not know whether he took it, but if he had, Grant would hunt him. The riders headed toward Miller Creek. Isaiah rode a borrowed horse. Silas rode beside him. For the first hour, neither spoke. Then Silas said, "Emily told me you lost your horse." Isaiah nodded. "Flood." "What was his name?" "Moses." Silas looked surprised. "Moses?" He was stubborn. Silas almost smiled. Then the expression disappeared. "I thought I knew Grant." Isaiah kept his eyes ahead. "That's usually why betrayal works." Silas looked at him. "You don't seem surprised." People show you who they are when they think nobody important is watching. Silas absorbed that. "And I suppose I showed you." Isaiah finally looked at him. "Yes." The word landed harder than an insult. At Miller Creek, they found signs quickly. Calvin's footprints, another set following. Blood on a branch. Reed crouched beside the tracks. 2 men. Isaiah studied the ground. One limping. Calvin? Probably. The tracks led uphill. Toward limestone cliffs, they dismounted. Reed split the group. Silas wanted to object. Isaiah stopped him. "Grant knows these hills?" "Better than anyone." "Then noise helps him?" Silas nodded. They moved quietly. Near sunset, Isaiah found a cartridge in the dirt. Fresh. Then a boot print. Then another. He lifted his head. The canyon ahead narrowed. Bad place. Good ambush. Isaiah raised his hand. Everyone stopped. A shot cracked. The ranch hand beside Silas dropped. Bullet through his shoulder. Chaos. Men scattered behind rocks. Another shot. Reed shouted, "Grant." No answer. Isaiah crawled behind a boulder. He saw movement high on the ridge. Not Grant. Calvin. The boy was waving, weakly. Isaiah pointed. "There." Silas turned. Grant fired again. Stone exploded beside Isaiah's face. Then a voice echoed from above. "Go home, Silas." Silas froze. "Grant, you've got nowhere to run." Grant laughed. "I've got $22,000 and a horse waiting north of the ridge." Reed shouted, "Then why are you still here?" Silence. Isaiah knew. "The pouch." Reed looked at him. "He hasn't found it." A gunshot from farther uphill. Calvin screamed. Isaiah moved before anyone could stop him. He sprinted across open ground. Grant fired. The bullet missed by inches. Isaiah dove behind a fallen juniper. Another shot. Then silence. Isaiah climbed fast. Calvin lay near the cave entrance. Blood covered his left leg. He was conscious. Barely. Isaiah reached him. "Where's Grant?" Calvin pointed toward the ridge. "He thinks I hid it in the cave." "Did you?" Calvin shook his head. Isaiah almost smiled. "Where?" Calvin touched his shirt. Nothing. Then pointed down toward the creek. Tree. Isaiah understood. He had hidden the pouch somewhere near the creek. Grant did not know. Another shot. Calvin flinched. "I'm sorry." "For what?" "I left her." Isaiah looked at him. "You let her loose." "I should have stopped him before." "You're stopping him now." Calvin's eyes filled with tears. "He said he'd kill my brother." Isaiah grabbed his shoulder. "Stay awake." Below, Reed and Silas advanced. Grant retreated higher. Isaiah helped Calvin into the cave, then followed a narrow goat path around the ridge. He had spent most of his life tracking cattle through country that wanted to break ankles. Grant knew the ranch. Isaiah knew ground. There was a difference. He climbed above Grant. The foreman crouched behind rocks, watching Reed below. Isaiah stepped out. "Drop it." Grant spun. His rifle came up. Isaiah fired first. The bullet struck Grant's rifle stock. The weapon flew from his hands. Grant stumbled, then pulled a revolver. Isaiah aimed at his chest. "Don't." Grant smiled. "You won't." "Try me." Grant studied him. "You know what happens if I die?" Conversation gets quieter. Grant laughed. "You think Silas is suddenly your friend?" "No." "You think Emily cares about you?" Isaiah said nothing. Grant noticed. "Oh?" He smiled wider. "That's interesting." Isaiah's face remained unreadable. Grant lowered the revolver slightly. "She's grateful, that's all." "Put it down." "She'll go back to that mansion. You'll go back to fixing fences." "Put it down." Men like Silas don't let men like you into their families. Isaiah's finger tightened on the trigger. Grant's smile disappeared. "Ask him." Footsteps. Silas appeared behind Isaiah. He had heard enough. Grant looked at him. For the first time, fear entered his face. Silas stared at the man he had trusted for 11 years. "You tied my daughter to a chair." Grant's jaw worked. She was going to ruin everything. "You hit her." "She wouldn't listen." Silas stepped forward. Isaiah blocked him with one arm. Grant raised the revolver. "Stay back." Silas stopped. Grant's eyes darted between them. "You were going to sell that land for nothing. It was mine to sell. You inherited it." Silas's expression hardened. "My father bought the first 4,000 acres. I built the rest. And I built it with you." "No." Silas shook his head. "You worked for me." The sentence cut deeper than Grant expected. His face twisted. "Exactly." He pointed the gun at Silas. 11 years. I made deals. I fired men. I kept herds alive through drought. I cleaned up every mess you made. And what did I get? A salary larger than any foreman in the county." Grant laughed. "A salary." He looked at Isaiah. "You understand that, don't you?" Isaiah said nothing. Grant continued. "They use you until they don't need you." Isaiah's voice was quiet. "Don't put me in your story." Grant blinked. "You think we're different?" "Yes." "How?" "You tied a woman to a chair because you wanted something that wasn't yours." Grant's face hardened. Isaiah took one slow step. "You nearly let her die." Another step. "You tried to shoot me through a jail window." Grant's eyes flicked. Silas saw it. "You fired at the jail." Grant knew he had given himself away. He raised the revolver. Silas lunged. The gun fired. Isaiah hit Grant from the side. All three men went down. The revolver skidded across stone. Grant punched Isaiah. Isaiah hit him back. Grant reached for a knife. Silas grabbed his wrist. Grant kicked him away. Then Isaiah drove his shoulder into Grant's chest. Grant fell, backward. His heel slipped over the edge. For one horrifying second, he hung above a 40-foot drop, both hands clawing at loose rock. Isaiah dropped to his stomach and grabbed his wrist. Grant stared up, shock. "You're saving me?" Isaiah strained. Silas grabbed Isaiah's belt and helped pull. Grant came over the edge. Reed reached them seconds later. He slammed Grant face first into the dirt and cuffed him. Grant looked at Isaiah. "Why?" Isaiah stood, breathing hard. "Because I'm not you." Calvin survived. The pouch was exactly where he said, inside a hollow beneath the roots of a cottonwood near the creek. The papers proved everything. Grant had bribed a surveyor, opened accounts under a false company, transferred ranch funds, negotiated secretly with a railway investor. He had planned to acquire the Whitmore Western Tract through intermediaries. Emily's questions threatened the entire scheme, so he removed her. The following afternoon, every bench in Red Hollow's church hall was full. People stood along the walls. Sheriff Reed brought Grant in through the side entrance. His hands were cuffed. Calvin remained at Dr. Hale's clinic, but his sworn statement had already been taken. Isaiah stood near the back. He had no desire to be there. Emily insisted. Silas walked to the front. The room became quiet. He looked different without the confidence he usually wore. Older, smaller somehow. He began simply. 2 days ago, I accused Isaiah Cole of kidnapping my daughter. People shifted. Silas continued. I was wrong. The words moved through the room. I did not listen to my daughter. He looked at Emily. I did not examine the facts. Then at Isaiah. And I allowed fear, pride, and prejudice to become certainty. No one moved. Silas swallowed. Mr. Cole found Emily in the desert after she escaped Grant Mercer. The crowd turned toward Grant. He gave her his last water. A murmur. He protected her through the night. Silas's voice tightened. And when my men found them, I repaid him by putting him on his knees. Isaiah watched. Silas did not look away. I ordered his hands tied. The hall was completely silent. I had him dragged through this town. Silas looked around at the same faces that had shouted from the sidewalks. And some of you helped me condemn him without knowing the truth. Several men lowered their eyes. Silas breathed. I cannot erase what I did. He faced Isaiah. But I can say publicly what I should have said the moment I found my daughter alive. He paused. Thank you. Isaiah said nothing. Silas's voice cracked slightly. Thank you for saving my child. Emily wiped tears from her face. The sheriff then read the charges against Grant: kidnapping, assault, attempted murder, fraud, embezzlement, conspiracy. Grant stared at the floor. When the meeting ended, people avoided Isaiah at first. Then Walter Briggs approached, the rancher who had shorted Isaiah $40. He removed his hat. Cole. Isaiah looked at him. Briggs handed him money. $40. Isaiah stared at it. Briggs looked embarrassed. Should have paid you right the first time. Isaiah took the bills. That all? Briggs swallowed. Probably not. A woman from the mercantile stepped forward next. Then another man. People who had watched him drag through town. People who had whispered. People who had believed the easiest story. Most offered apologies. Some sincere, some uncomfortable. Some because Silas Whitmore had gone first. Isaiah accepted none too warmly. Rejected none cruelly. He simply listened. Outside, Emily waited. The sun was setting behind the church. You're leaving? It wasn't a question. Isaiah looked toward the livery. Tomorrow. Her face fell. Why? I was already passing through. That was before. Before what? Emily hesitated. Before all of this? Isaiah smiled faintly. That's not usually a reason to stay. She stepped closer. My father wants to give you a horse. I know. He picked one of his best. I know. You're going to refuse it? Probably. Emily laughed. Then her eyes filled. You always make everything difficult. Your father said the same thing. She looked down. What if I asked you to stay? Isaiah's expression changed. Emily immediately regretted the words. I'm sorry. No. She looked up. No. No need to be sorry. Silence stretched between them. Then Isaiah said, Why? Emily breathed in. Because when I was lying under that tree, I thought I was going to die. Isaiah listened. And then you appeared. That's gratitude. I know what gratitude feels like. She stepped closer. This isn't only that. Isaiah looked toward the ranch road. You've had a hard week? She almost smiled. You think I'm confused? I think your father thought the same thing and nearly got me killed. Emily laughed despite herself, then became serious. I'm not asking you to promise anything. Good. I'm asking you not to disappear. Isaiah looked at her. You barely know me. You gave me the last thing you had when you thought nobody was coming. She paused. I know something. He looked away. A horse whinnied from the livery. Emily said, Stay 1 week. Isaiah raised an eyebrow. 1? 1. And then? If you hate us, leave. Us? The town. Isaiah smiled. Thought you meant your family. That too? He looked at her for a long moment. 1 week. Emily smiled. It was the first time he had seen her smile without exhaustion beneath it. 1 week. Silas gave Isaiah the horse anyway. A dark bay mare named Mercy. Isaiah refused twice. On the third attempt, Silas said, Then consider her payment for services rendered. Isaiah looked at him. You already tried money. Silas sighed. I'm bad at apologizing. Yes, I'm trying. I noticed. Silas looked at the mare. She's stubborn. Isaiah ran a hand along her neck. Then maybe she'll suit me. Silas almost smiled. The week became 2, then a month. Grant's trial was moved to the county seat. Calvin Price testified. Emily testified. Isaiah testified only about finding her and the shooting at the jail. Grant was convicted. The railway scheme collapsed. Silas kept the western land. But something else changed. He stopped treating his ranch like an extension of his will. He began listening, not always, not easily, but sometimes. Emily took over the ranch accounts. No transaction happened without 2 signatures. Calvin, after recovering, was offered his job back. He declined. Isaiah found him work with Walter Briggs instead. Red Hollow changed more slowly. Towns usually do. Some people never apologized. Some continued whispering when Isaiah walked past. But now others challenged them, not because prejudice had vanished, because silence had become less comfortable. Isaiah stayed through autumn. He repaired a windmill at Whitmore Ranch. Then another. He helped move cattle before the first frost. He avoided dinner at the Main house until Emily threatened to bring his plate to the bunkhouse every night. Their friendship became impossible to define. They rode together, argued, laughed, sometimes said nothing for miles. Silas watched all of it, at first with discomfort, then with resignation. One evening, he found Isaiah repairing a gate. You planning to marry my daughter? Isaiah nearly dropped the hammer. No. Silas nodded. Good. Isaiah looked at him. Silas added, she'd kill us both if she heard this conversation. That's the first sensible thing you've said. Silas laughed. A real laugh, then became serious. I spent most of my life thinking protecting Emily meant controlling what came near her. Isaiah kept working. I noticed. I was wrong. Isaiah looked at him. Silas stared toward the house. Her mother used to tell me that. You didn't listen? Apparently that's a recurring flaw. Isaiah smiled. Silas looked at him. I don't know what happens between you and Emily. Neither do I. But if something does... He paused. Isaiah waited. Silas's expression tightened. Old habits fighting new understanding. Finally, he said, I'll try not to make a fool of myself. Isaiah nodded. That's a low bar. It's a start. Winter passed. In early spring, Isaiah prepared to leave. Not because anything had gone wrong, because leaving was what he knew. His saddle was packed when Emily found him outside the bunkhouse. She stared at the bags. So this is it. Isaiah tightened a strap. Looks like. You said 1 week. That was 7 months ago. You're terrible at keeping track of time. He smiled. Emily didn't. Why are you leaving? Work up north. You have work here. Different work. Better? No. More money? No. She crossed her arms. Then I'm running out of guesses. Isaiah stopped. The morning was cool. Wind moved through the cottonwoods. He looked at Mercy, then at Emily. I don't know how to stay. Her expression softened. That's different from wanting to leave. He said nothing. Emily stepped closer. You think if you leave first, nobody gets to decide you don't belong? Isaiah's eyes sharpened. That's unfair. Yes. She came closer. Is it wrong? He looked away. She waited. Finally, he said, people always decide eventually. I haven't. You're 23. I'm 24. Big difference. It is when you're losing an argument. Isaiah laughed. Emily's eyes filled. You once asked whether you needed to know me before giving me water. He remembered. She continued. You said no. Isaiah lowered his eyes. Emily touched his hand. So maybe you don't need to know exactly how everything ends before deciding to stay. He looked at her fingers around his. What are you asking? 1 more week, he smiled. You already used that trick. It worked. 1 week becomes 7 months. Maybe. And after that? She stepped closer. We'll argue about another week. Isaiah looked at her, then slowly untied the saddlebag. Emily smiled through tears. 1 week? 1. She kissed his cheek. Isaiah froze. Emily stepped back. That wasn't part of the agreement. No. You object? He looked at her. No. From the porch of the ranch house, Silas watched. He sighed. Dr. Hale, standing beside him, followed his gaze. You going to interfere? Silas considered it. No. Hale smiled. Growth. Don't get used to it. Years later, people in Red Hollow still told the story differently. Some said Isaiah Cole saved Emily Whitmore because he was brave. Others said he did it because he loved her before he knew he loved her. That part was nonsense. When Isaiah found Emily beneath the mesquite tree, he knew nothing about her. Not her last name, not her father, not her money, not the danger following her. He knew only that she was thirsty, and he had water. That was enough. The part people remembered most was what happened afterward. The rifles, the accusation, the arrest, the truth. But Emily remembered something else. She remembered waking beneath a sky so bright it hurt. Seeing a stranger kneeling beside her, and realizing that the first thing he offered was not a question, not suspicion, not judgment. Water. Years later, when Isaiah finally married her beneath the cottonwoods near the western pasture, Silas stood in the front row. Older, quieter, the same man who had once ordered Isaiah to his knees. Before the ceremony, Silas approached him privately. He carried a small object wrapped in cloth. Isaiah opened it. The old canteen. The same one from the desert. Dented, scratched, empty. Isaiah looked at him. Emily kept it. Silas nodded. She said it mattered. It's junk. Silas smiled faintly. Apparently not. Isaiah turned the canteen in his hands. Silas's expression became serious. I've spent years thinking about the morning we found you. Isaiah looked at him. I know. I saw what I expected to see. Isaiah said nothing. I saw a black man holding my injured daughter, and I decided what kind of man you were before she said a word. His voice was low. There's no excuse for that. Isaiah looked at the canteen. Silas continued. You could have hated me. For a while I did. Silas nodded. Fair. You nearly got me killed. I know. But you changed. Silas looked toward Emily, who was laughing with friends beneath the trees. Slowly. Most people do. Silas extended his hand. Isaiah took it. When the ceremony began, Isaiah placed the old canteen beneath his chair, not as a symbol of what he had suffered, but of the choice that started everything. He had been thirsty. She had been dying. He gave her the water anyway. And in the end, that simple act exposed a criminal, humbled a powerful man, forced a town to look at itself, and changed two lives that should never have crossed. The story people told for decades began with an accusation, but the truth began earlier. It began beneath a mesquite tree in the burning desert, when one man looked at a stranger who needed help and decided that was reason enough.